Hi friends, I'm Colonel Failure and this is the old farming simulator, and we're getting back to work in the Getting Back to Work series, which is get back to work, not the active verb there. What are we doing today? Well, today, two missions to undertake today. Firstly, we're finally going to sell some ruddy cake. And then secondly, we're going to talk about really bad movies. Yeah. Today's question has arrived courtesy of Brett, who says, Ice Pirates, Hawk the Slayer, and other movies that are so bad they're good. Now, there's the thing, is quite often when you're talking about bad movies that end up being good, you're into the area of cult movies. Now, I've not seen Hawk the Slayer since 1980, whatever it is that I first watched it, and I put money on it being awful and having no redeeming features at all, because you think of it fondly. Largely you think of the bloke who could fire arrows really quick. That's the Hawk the Slayer memorable bit, is fellow with the arrows that he could fire really quick. And that's it. I still haven't watched the Ice Pirates. I've been browbeaten into watching the Ice Pirates on stream, and I haven't got around to it yet. Largely because, just haven't been bothered to it. But on a sort of semi-related note, what did I watch not so long ago? I watched Space Truckers again, not so long ago. Now, when I watched Space Truckers the first time around, it's Dennis Hopper and Debbie Mazur, and who else is in it? Charles Dance is in it as well, I think. But it's a deliberate B movie kind of a movie, and the one thing that I'll say for it is it's not very good, but they spent a lot of money on the model making in that movie. The model making is superb. All of the production design is fantastic. It's really, really well done. I don't need torch. I need picky uppy truck. It's got a real name. Is it Steve? No, it's not Steve. Anyway, we'll use the picky uppy truck for this particular caper. As you can see, we got some cake here, and I did a bit of a reorganise of my ingredients. Not that you'd notice. And then I've got a bit more cake here that I foraged earlier on in order to give my fresh cake somewhere to spawn. Hang on, let me get lined up and I'll get back on topic. So the problem with quote unquote bad movies so bad they're good is that more often than not they're not good movies. They just aren't, and there is no so bad it's good. There is the opportunity for ironically enjoying something, where you can kind of go, this is so stupid, I'm having a great time watching it. And I have a candidate for you on that front, and that's the movie Battleship. Yep, not even joking. I loved Battleship. I thought Battleship was fantastic because it was terrible, just so terrible. And interestingly, it didn't have the main selling point from the trailer. So Battleship, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's only, it's got to be, 10, maybe 12 years old, something like that. It's, the main principle is that it is the movie adaptation of the board game Battleship. Yes, the very same. C2, F6, you've sunk my battleship, all that business, right? And they shoehorn that in the most tenuous way imaginable. But it's fabulous. Aliens rock up on Earth, and the alien destruction machinery is really quite something, if a little bit impractical and somewhat unguided. They've got these big gyroscopic spinny ball things that just rip through stuff. What would they got? Beyblades, effectively. They use Beyblades on everybody. Maybe because they had the merchandise deal set up with the Beyblade Corporation before filming the movie, and they went, just a quick bit of rebranding there, and your Beyblades have all of a sudden become Battleship spinning death wheels, or whatever the heck they're called. But that wasn't it. No, that's not it either. As far as the performances of your main characters go, there's no award ceremony happening for any of those people anytime soon. In fact, given that time has now passed, it's not going to happen. Is the screenwriting particularly good? No, friends. No, it is not. So aliens rock up, and they're occupying Hawaii in order to jack the satellite array there. The what's it called? Telescope, radio telescope that's in Hawaii, in order to send a signal down to the rest of the old fleet, up to the rest of the old fleet there, to come in and get busy with the fizzy. And they've got a big force field, and as such, the only things that they've got a force field while the Japanese and Americans are doing a training exercise with a lot of fleet, like a big amount of fleet, and yeah, and anyway, there's a football match that ends acrimoniously. Yes, that's a big story point there that is rectified later. But the only things that are available militarily within this force field that is set up are a couple of Burke class electronic warfare frigates, destroyers, whatever they are. Very clever pieces of kit, I'm sure. Magnificently sophisticated, but that's all there are insofar as the humans are concerned. And they managed to do all right. The alien design's okay, but it's the action sequences. The action sequences are why I really love that movie, and the big showdown at the end when they go after the alien big boss ship, or whatever the heck it is. No, sorry, I keep pressing the flashlight because for Derail Valley that's teleport, which I keep pressing accidentally. I couldn't give you a rational explanation. Anyway, look, there we go. We've got cake on trailer, which is how it was. It's my serving suggestion. Yeah. So, but the big showdown is all of the destroyers have been sunk. Spoilers, but if you haven't seen it yet, you really haven't missed anything. You've got Rihanna's in it. Yeah, I know. She's not convincing, and she hasn't had a proper military haircut either. So she's got her regular hair and isn't convincing. Okay, whatever. John Carter from Mars, he's in it as well. Now, I really like John Carter from Mars, but I had no idea about the source material. I didn't realise it was a thing that existed before. Massive flop of a movie, but I really enjoyed the movie. I think I saw it for the first time on a plane, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good bit of. Again, they spent a lot of money on it. No, I enjoyed that. Anyway, John Carter from Mars is our hero, despite being fairly unlikable. Liam Neeson is the admiral, and in the trailer there comes a point where Liam Neeson says, "Fire everything," and that's the point at which you get fired up in the trailer. Yeah, doesn't happen in the movie. It's not in the movie. That bit in the movie, it's not in there. No, it's total lies. Anyway, the showdown comes. All of the snazzy modern destroyers have been taken out, and humanity's it's looking desperate. But of course, it's Hawaii that they've got. So in Honolulu, what have they got? What have they got anchored in Honolulu? Well, it's only the USS Missouri, a World War II era battleship, and you kind of go, well, okay, nobody knows how to use it though. At which point, there's a reunion of the crew, of the surviving crew going on. So, and there's just this brilliant shot of all of this old crew standing arms crossed or like ready for action on gun barrels and poop decks and all kinds of business. You just kind of go, it's the largest slice of cheese in the history of the world. Anyway, this comes after they've done the tenuous battleship moment, which is, it's bad and it's throwaway. But the best bit is they're powering along in the Missouri, and their big plan comes from getting the Missouri to pull a handbrake turn. And I tell you, It may well be CG, but it's ruddy fantastic. They drop the anchor out the side of the, out the side of the ship. Whole thing swings round majestically, bringing its guns to bear on a broadside. Just brilliant. It's an absolutely awful movie, and I went to see it. Herself and I went to see it in the cinema, and I spent the latter half of that movie just laughing my arse off, because it's appalling. It's just appalling. I've even written a review for it on Amazon, where I state that it's the greatest movie ever made, because for my money, a movie that you come away from having really enjoyed the experience is a job done. I don't care if it's good or bad. If you come away from it going like, I loved every second of that, that was fantastic. It's why I don't care if it's realistic or not. I'm not bothered. The thing that bothers me more than things being realistic or otherwise is when they're trying to be clever but missing a ruddy, enormous plot hole. That is so obvious that I spot it instantly. I go, well, that's not going to work. Oh, they got away with it. Well, it shouldn't have. That shouldn't have worked. Right, let's drop the cake off, and then I'll continue on my narrative there, because I've got another anecdote for you, and it's one that you're not going to believe. I'll get to it in about 3 minutes, because I want to see how much 4 punnets of cake. Yes, I am using the word punnet deliberately, and I know it's the wrong word. Right, here we go. Fire in a hole. We start with about 43.5 grand. Okay. Hey, this looks like it might actually be paying off reasonably well. That was another 4.6 for 2 punnets. So let's call it 9.5 for 4 punnets. That's not terrible. 2.5 grand a pallet. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of palaver for 2.5 grand. But here's the thing. It's much like bales. We'll drive over in the Balewood direction. I've largely finished all my jobs for this episode. It's November. I've got everything planted and seeded and the rest of it. Have I done the... actually, I don't know if I've done the sugarcane yet. I've harvested it. Harvesting sugarcane, that is a joyless mission. That is... yeah, but I don't think I've replanted it yet. I'll have to check the calendar. But we're just going to show the bales first. Anyway, another bad movie I want to talk to you about is Showgirls. Now, I have yet to watch the Showgirls documentary, because I've got a special relationship with Showgirls. Yes, I do. Which I shall come to in approximately 45 seconds. Showgirls, for those who haven't seen it, is is Paul Verhoeven. Yep, him of RoboCop and Starship Troopers and basically every great 1980s sci-fi semi-B movie. Total Recall, that's one of his as well. Paul Verhoeven is a very, very, very good director. Not in sense of how he directs the movies particularly, but in the sense of how he sets them up. So you don't come away in a Christopher Nolan-esque style of going, goodness gracious me, that was stylish. You come away from it going, well, that was full of bombast. And between Starship Troopers and RoboCop, with all of the fake advertising that goes on in there, that's, for my money, that's worth the price of admission to begin with. But they're just brilliant. And when you read about his actual, what he's trying to convey through those movies, and then you watch it through the lens of what he's actually intending. Because when you're a kid, you watch it as just a pulpy action movie, right? It's just, yeah, get them bugs, or yeah, look, he's a robot, and Ed 209's cool, but can't handle stairs. Then that's top weasel when you're a young'un. But then when you look into actually what's the old meta narrative going on here, then you go, actually, that's very good. I mean, Starship Troopers, as you all know by now, is a condemnation of fascism. I mean, it's a dead giveaway that it's a condemnation of fascism, because our main characters are all from Brazil, and yet they are the most waspy characters you're ever going to come across. And therefore, the world has already largely been, it's been subsumed by Western European kind of cultural identity. And but anyhow, I'm off topic, and that's not necessarily a topic I want to get into. But what is the topic you want to get into? Bad moves. You said 45 seconds for why you've got a special relationship with Showgirls. Showgirls, right? It's about a drifter of a woman who rocks up in Las Vegas and is a dancer, and she soon ends up doing the Las Vegas showgirl dancing circuit bit effort, and it's the associated drama that goes alongside that. Minor details forthcoming. I have got to plant this. I'm like, oh no, that's a joyless adventure. Well, you decided that. Actually, I'll be honest. Sugarcane is paying really nicely. I'm using most of it in cake, but I sell the surplus, and it does. I mean, look, I've got 50 grand in the bank. That's unheard of. The thing with Showgirls is that the main character is mad. She's completely unhinged. There is no relationship between her and a rational human being in the ruddy slightest. She's a complete basket case, and not for any storyline. Not for any storyline reasons. Her motivations are all rubbish, and yeah, it's just mad. Here's a spoiler for you. You know that movie Black Swan with Natalie Portman, where she's a ballet dancer? It's a remake of Showgirls. The plot is identical. It's the same plot, and you kind of go, oh well, maybe the highbrow. Oh gosh, look at how many flipping Oscars it won. Black Swan, maybe that came... No, it didn't. Showgirls came first. Black Swan ripped off the plot. And as such, Black Swan was diabolical. It was rubbish. It was total and utter rubbish. Now, this is why I reference Showgirls in this, because Showgirls is not a movie that is so bad that it's good. It's a movie that is entirely unredeeming at all. There is nothing redeeming about that movie in the slightest. There is nothing good about... It's got Carl MacLachlan in it, Agent Cooper, or the Paul Atreides, depending on your cup of coffee. And I'm a big fan of Paul because I'm a David Lynch fan. But Kyle, Paul, whatever his name is, whatever. Blur all the characters into one, doesn't really matter. And even with his presence, no, it's terrible. Anyway, the reason I have a special relationship for it was that I stated to friends of mine, and this was in the early 2000s. One of those friends was herself, and the other one of those friends, this was before we were an item, and another one of those friends was our mutual best friend. And I said that you know what, I'm going to watch Showgirls 5 times back to back in one sitting. All right, I'm allowed to get up and stretch my legs and grab a drink in between sittings, and I'm allowed to go to the bathroom while the credits are rolling, but I am not allowed to pause. That's it. That was the only rule. Now, the first thing you don't realise upon undertaking a task... Why? The first thing you realise upon undertaking a task like this... let me find all the right gubbins to do this. You want to do a bit of that, probably. Yeah. Does it need to be... unhatch it. Is that unhatched, or is that hatched? I think that's unhatched. Okay, right. Give it some of this. Can't be planted in November. Well, when can it be planted? Hang on, I'll have to have a look. So yeah, watching it 5 times back to back. The first thing you don't realise is 2.5 hours long. It is 2.5 hours long. Now, the late 90s, which is when it came out, it might have been sort of mid-90s when it came out. 2.5 hours was a long movie. You didn't get very many movies that broke the 2-hour mark. Everyone was still aiming in that 1980s classic around 90 to 95 minutes. I had a good operational, still holds true philosophy whereby any non-animated movie that runs for less than 90 minutes is going to be terrible, because no movie studio would commission a movie that was that was under 90 minutes long because the theatres wouldn't go for it. And therefore, the only reason that that's been put out under 90 minutes in length is because they had to cut so much of that movie that there ain't a lot left. Right, Sugarcane comes out in... That's Harvest. Yeah, I've done that. Oh, planting in March. Oh, right. Well, at least I don't have to do it now. No. All right. Well, dump that then. There you go. Yeah, I'm done with you. Don't need you. Let's go and see the cows. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I watched it 5 times back to back. It's 2.5 hours long. And it was complete. Herself and I's mutual friends was doing nothing but playing World of Warcraft all day while I was slumped in a beanbag watching it. Gradually, the amount to which it makes you feel more stupid the more times you watch something that is stupid. I was barely able to put a conversation together afterwards. It was just, my brain was literally dribbling out of my ears. The reason for doing watch it 5 times back to back without a break was nobody else on the face of the planet will have ever done that. Not even the editor will have done that. Nobody will have watched it 5 times back to back without taking a breather. There is no conceivable reason to do so. And so I did it because I wanted to be the only person that had done something. I mean, I could have been the only person to cure cancer, but no, I went for the only person to watch Showgirls 5 times back to back. Hey ho, life goals, I suppose, or thereabouts. Anyway, I watched it. What can I tell you about it? Oh, I remember. Thrust it. Yeah. Gina Gershon. She's in it as well. Actually, if you were going to say there was a high point in that movie, Gina Gershon was probably it. But here's the thing, right now, if you can always put yourself in the mindset of a teenage lad, if you are a heterosexual teenage lad, if you are heterosexual and male, right? You can put yourself in that mood because you kind of remember what it was like. And Showgirls has got an awful lot of T&A going on. A heck of a lot. And it gets to the point where you're just going, love, will you put some clothes on, please? No, I've had enough of it. No, look, put some clothes on and actually advance the story, if you'd be so kind. If that's not too much trouble, if you could do those things for me, it'd be great. She's barely got her clothes on at any point at all, to the point that it loses all sexuality. Now, knowing the clever Mr. Verhoeven, that might be intentional, which you kind of go, oh, you sly old dog. Still a crap movie, but you are a sly weasel of a Dutchman. Yeah, I mean, that's distinctly possible. But there's a sex scene in that movie, and it's Paul Atreides and Nomi Malone, who is the lead character, who's played by, can't remember her name, but she was one of the main characters in Saved by the Bell. That's the quality of actress we managed to drum up for this one. Nothing wrong with Saved by the Bell. There's a lot wrong with Saved by the Chuffing Bell. I couldn't watch it, which is why I couldn't tell you exactly how much is wrong with it, because I thought it was just awful. However, yeah, there's a sex scene in it where Nomi Malone, our heroine, is basically thrashing around in a swimming pool like a dolphin having a seizure, and not in a happy way either. It is the least sexy film you'll ever come across. It's remarkable in that, and it's boring. It is so boring. It is such a boring movie, because there's no relationship between any of the characters and people. there's no human emotion in any of this at all. It's all just entirely artificial. So I mean, I've watched a lot of movies. I mean, a lot of movies in my teens. If given the notion of what's your perfect evening, I go, I'll watch a movie. Yeah, I'll go down Oh, where did I go? It wasn't Blockbuster at the time. Blockbuster only opened when I was in my college years in my hometown. So where would I have gone? What was it called? I think it was Choices Video. I think I might have gone. No, Starlight. It was Starlight Video. Did they have the best selection in the world? No. Did they let me take the promotional posters home? Yep. That's why I had a Nightmare on Elm Street 5 poster that was used to promote the movie. Oh, I know, top class. I had a massive Alien. I had dozens. I had dozens of different movie posters that the video shop had just given me. They weren't great movie posters, I'll be honest, but they were definitely me. And I would watch pretty much anything. I've got some notable gaps. Quite a lot of Brat Pack stuff is a notable gap. And you might go, that's not important. You go, but culturally it is. It's interesting. I've watched St. Elmo's Fire like 3 or 4 times and it's terrible. But I haven't watched 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink. And you go, what's going on there? They're supposed to be pretty good. And you go, I know. Problematic, obviously, because they were made in the 80s, but because they're all John Hughes movies, you see. Yeah, but I haven't watched either of those. They're on my, get this one watched at some point, would you? No, but there you go. So there you go. In answer to the question then, a summary, in answer to the question, and I think that the job that I've chosen to finish off the video today with, we'll just give this a general hosing, I think. All right, general, yeah. Press that, yeah. No, press that, yeah. Get rolling. Yep. Press this. There you go. Spray it with rubbish. No, spray it with crap. You can say crap, it's okay. We're going to spray this with crap because we're talking about crap movies, and the premise of so bad it's good does not hold water in all cases. Sometimes it is just plain bad, and I don't doubt that both the Ice Pirates and Hawk the Slayer will fall into it's not very good, because even stuff like the Conan movies, they're not very good. They were at the time. They were revolutionary, but and groundbreaking, and ideal teenage boy movie fodder and teenage girl movie. Teenagers who like fantasy, perfect, absolutely splendid way to spend their time. Flash Gordon, right? The Sam Jones Flash Gordon movie it's not a good movie, but it is a good movie. Because, and it's not the soundtrack that makes it, although the soundtrack certainly helps, but the characters, the way they're being played, yeah, the effects are cheesy, yeah, there's a lot of cheese in the storyline, but the performances that the characters are giving are just great. They're all totally buying into this nonsense and delivering on it perfectly. So it's great performances in the same way as you can go and watch Panto in the UK, which is a great British tradition. But you can go and watch Panto and it'd be great, despite the fact that Panto is so played out. It's not even funny, and that's what makes the difference. But when you've got bad performances with a bad script that's not well made, that doesn't hold water, and when it has no remaining redeeming features, then it ceases to be so bad it's good material. Where are you going? Going the wrong way. Battleship, I put in. It's not so bad it's good. It is hilariously bad. It is a very bad film. The first half's not great, but the second half is so stupid that it's actually quite good fun. It's like 2012. I love disaster movies from the get-go. All disaster movies are fabulous because they follow a format. Disaster movies, baseball movies, and submarine movies. They have a template for them that they use every single time, and I love that template. That template is ruddy miraculous, and it almost guarantees that you're in for a good time. Anyway, thanks very much for your question, Brett. This is Get Back to Work. Don't commission one of these just yet. Give me a couple of weeks to catch up a little bit on the queue, and then put one in. Save your thought. I don't want to switch the queue off, but I will, unless I get it under control. So hang on to that thought, and I'll let you know when the green signal is up or down, whichever way the green signal happens to be feeling on that particular day. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. Catch you next time. Cheerio.